Hey guys, so before I introduce myself or say any of this stuff, let's just get this right out of the way. Prayer is not about absolving yourself of saying certain things so that you'll get into heaven, speaking to God so that he will like you, or any of these things. Prayer is literally just intimacy with God. Prayer is just using your mind and body to do a level of communication that is just required to feel like that you're in a relationship. Prayer is like talking to the universe as if it's another person so that you can like keep the relationship alive, so that you can kind of like feel like you're on the same page with each other, so that you know what's up. It's like I humanize prayer immensely when I teach about it. It's like literally talk to God like you would talk to your best friend. Talk to God like you would talk to your a loving mother. Okay? And so prayer, all it is just engaging in dialogue with life in a way that meaningfully affects your experience. And so you're talking to life, you're talking to the source of life, so that you kind of start to feel like, oh yeah, like I am in a relationship with everything that's happening to me. I'm embedded in a process of growth that is collaborating with the force of evolution at work in everything around me. Like, prayer is just keeping you in the game. Prayer is keeping you invested in this process of the spiritual process. And so for me personally, as somebody who's been practicing in a classical Shakta Tantric tradition since 2015, I pray every single day, but it's almost like I can't help but do it. It's so deeply ingrained in me. And part of the reason why I pray every day before I do my altar practice is to remember. I pray to remember. I pray to orient myself to what's true. I pray to orient myself to the stuff that really matters day after day after day. And so I tend to say the same thing over and over and over again, day after day, and then sprinkle in some new things. And so this is what I want to talk about today for those moments when you want to pray, but you don't know what to say. You don't need to have that problem anymore if you just start actually saying almost the exact same thing every single time that you pray. And so what I call this when I teach about prayer is having an anchor prayer. So what you want, and this could be anything, I have a course on my Patreon called Prayer 101 where I go into detail about how to do something like this and detail into many more ways to pray. But an anchor prayer is in essence one statement or series of statements that you say every single day. And that statement is almost kind of like ringing a bell that kind of calls in the presence of God, or puts your heart in the correct orientation so that you will be more receptive to God making herself known in your experience, or God answering the phone, right? Because prayer is ultimately just picking up the phone and making a call, right? And then God answers or doesn't. That's a whole other thing. And so you want to have an anchor prayer. And for me, a very simple anchor prayer that I have done on and off for years is, oh God, thank you so much for my joys and my sorrows. Thank you so much for my clarity and my confusion. Thank you so much for my ecstasy and my agony. And then as I say this is how I start it. As I say it, I'll kind of bring in just shit that's like up for me. And so maybe I'll be like, thank you so, like if I'm really uncomfortable in my body because I have a chronic illness, like, thank you so much for the bliss that I feel in my body, but also the discomfort I feel in my body. And I'm not saying that you need to do this exact prayer. I'm just giving you an example of the thing that I do every day. But what matters when you pick something that you're going to do every day is that it is reflective of your ideals, like the thing that you're really trying to work towards, or the things that really matter to you. As a non-dualist and as a devotee of the Divine Mother, it's very important for me to fully embrace the full spectrum of being a living, breathing human being on planet Earth. And so my prayer, to me, it has to encompass all of that stuff. I say thank you for my joy. I say thank you for my bliss. I also say thank you for my pain and my confusion. Thank you for those moments when I can't feel you. I know that you are still there. I know that you are still there. And so that's actually another one that I've said very regularly is, oh, Mom, thank you so much for this life. Thank you for being everything that I have ever experienced. You are with me all the time, and you're still with me even when I forget you, even when I forget you. And that even when I forget you thing is really important because I'm trying to always be in remembrance. And so prayer to me, like I said before, is about remembrance. It's about remembering what's true. It's about orienting me towards what's true. And so if you ever feel like I don't know what to say when I'm praying, maybe you need to get more clear on like, what are you even doing with the spiritual thing? What are you even doing? Like, if anything, your prayer should be a reminder of the point of existence, of the point of why you keep showing up for God, why you keep showing up for life. Why? Get clear on that. That might help to figure out some things that you could say in prayer. In addition to this, you could like tap into the texture of your life if you're not really sure what to say. You could do your anchor prayer, whatever that looks like. Be sure to check out Prayer 101 on my Patreon if you want a little bit more guidance around that. But check in with the texture of your life and just talk about like, what's up with you? What's up with you? Like maybe you have your anchor prayer that you start out to get your heart in the right position, and then you literally just start talking about like, what's up with you? Like, I need to break up with this person. Oh, Ma, please give me the tools that I need to be brave enough to change the trajectory of my life. Maybe you are really struggling with your child, and your child is, she's like a teenager or something, and it's really going through stuff, and she's taking it out on you. You could ask Ma, like, Ma, please help me to see you in the form of my child. Please help me to remember that my daughter is just a fiery aspect of you right now. Literally use what's going on. What do you mean you don't know what to say? Are you not awake? What's happening in your life? Like, that's literally all you have to do. And so use the texture of your life. Use the texture of the things that are up with you. Like, oh Ma, wow, the stock market is kind of like blowing me out right now. Give me the steadfastness that is required for me to see that you have my back, regardless of the Dow Jones Industrial. Literally do that. And on this note, let's take it down to my third point. Be yourself. Literally be yourself. I feel like a lot of people get tripped up with prayer because they think they need to be like, oh God, who art in heaven, I am here talking to you. She made your personality. She is you, actually. She made you so that she could remember herself. And you're just praying. She is you praying to her, ultimately. And so don't forget about that. Like, she didn't mess up when she gave you your personality. And she also, like, wants you to be you. She also wants you to be you. And so if you're, like, showing up to prayer and being some version that's completely inauthentic to you, it's just kind of like, what? Like, if the Divine Mother is this pure mother who truly has your back and gives you boons of abundance, but also corrects you when you need to get back on the right course, like, if she saw you, like, praying to her and, like, being really inauthentic, she'd probably be like, my daughter, I did not make my daughter like that. Like, I did not make my son, I did not make my child to behave in this way. Like, why are you wasting your breath pretending to be somebody that you're not? Right? And so, be yourself. Be yourself. Talk to her like you. Use all of your little personality quirks. I remember I was, like, praying for a car like 3 years ago. I don't do a lot of praying for material things just personally, but I really wanted this car. And I remember I was like in prayer about it. And I was like, Ma, please, like, what if we made this work? I was like, I'm bartering with you. I know I'm bartering with you. And like, this is like what my internal dialogue is like with her, because I don't have any like baggage around who I am. She made me. That's enough evidence of the fact that I'm allowed to be me. And I'm allowed to be me when I'm talking with her. Okay? And so be yourself. And then my final note is that, so I teach from a yoga tradition. And so Jai Ma is literally translates to salutations to the Divine Mother, or victory to the Divine Mother. It's kind of used in the same way that namaste would be used, or namaskar would be used. It's kind of like, it's like Jai Ma, it's like a greeting. Jai Ma is also a complete prayer. Jai Ma is a complete prayer. If you're like, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to pray, I don't know what to say, don't fucking say anything of substance at all. Just say Jai Ma. You could just say Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma for like 20 minutes, and that would be your prayer. Like, what if it isn't even about the words? Like, the most effective prayer has to do with the position of your heart as you are uttering anything. And so, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, just saying that, that's enough of a prayer. That's enough of a prayer. You don't need to say anything else. And like, if you're from a different tradition, like, find some other words, or just like Christ consciousness, like, oh, Christ, but like in a good way. Or like, you know, like anything. Or anything. Ya Allah. I don't know. I only speak from my tradition. But you could say like, oh Spirit, oh Spirit, oh Spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's not about what you say. It's about how you feel, guys. It's about how you feel. Prayer is about really feeling it. Really feeling that connection. Feeling like I know that there is an ear that is listening to me. Don't get hung up on the words. She knows you're bullshitting or not. She knows if you're just doing the rigmarole of saying the thing that you think you should say because some girl on YouTube told you that you need to pray. She feels the position of your heart. And so, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Spirit, 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 like whatever the frack it is, that is a complete prayer if you're feeling it. If you're feeling it. Okay? And so that's my message for today. Like I said, Patreon, I got Prayer 101. It's a 2-hour class about prayer, essentially. I go through the 3 rungs of prayer. I go through how to design your anchor prayer. I go into a whole lot of like, why do we pray? These sorts of things. Why is it such a misunderstood practice? All from the perspective of classical Tantra, which is the tradition that I teach from. And I also have another course on Patreon called Devotion 101, which is very much about this feeling that I was just talking about. Like, it's not about what you do. It's about how you feel. Devotion is not the ritual. Devotion is the way you feel when you do the ritual. And when you get into that feeling space, the spiritual path becomes this thing that you can just turn your head slightly to the left about throughout your day. It's like, it can be this thing that is like what you're doing all the time. Because you know, oh, it's about the position of my heart. It's not about what I'm doing. If I'm feeling really spun out, like, oh, I can just like orient to my inner world, orient to my feeling of gratitude for having another day on this crazy fucked up earth, okay? And so that's that. And my final note is there's this saying, one prayer uttered by a householder has the same strength as 500 prayers uttered by a monk. And the reason why is because if you're a householder like me, you live in the world, you don't live in a monastery, you have a job, you're in a relationship, you have children. It's like, if you were to even just utter one prayer in the midst of all of your responsibilities, that is even more powerful than somebody who lives in a monastery and has committed their life to the spiritual path. Okay? And so don't underestimate your prayers. Don't underestimate your capacity to feel reconnected with the source of everything in the middle of doing your dishes, or for 15 minutes at the end of the day in front of your altar. Do not underestimate this, okay? You actually have everything that you need because you were born, okay? That's my final note.